Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. I have another channel on astrology, and I have a Facebook page on prophetic writings, um, which I invite you to read. As usual, the caveat, there are individuals who are impersonating me, stealing my identity, using my identity to do fraudulent activity and criminal activity against me and against others. Please be discerning, don't engage with them. Okay, now I read a comment and a question to address addictions pertaining weed. I will try to address that at the end of this video, hoping that I will move through the topic which God gave me fast enough. Yeah. So God asked me to talk about in this video about flipping the script. Yeah. How you flip the script. So it's a different video about the same type of bullying kind of activity, which is very much and very much a large percentage of the spiritual attacks. Yeah, a lot of it is being done at least in the incipient phases until you get into hardcore type of witchcraft by levitation. The triggers created in you are created by levitation. Yeah, and by bullying, levitation, I mean constant repetition of bullying acts at you. They learn what bothers you, what triggers you, what makes you angry, what makes you sad, what makes you all sorts of emotions, literally. And they will repeat that on your subconscious, on subliminal level, until they succeed to create that emotion in you. Partly is in order to open up your energetic field, but most importantly is to weaken your will, your determination, your strength, your defense, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And God has guided me to talk about and give examples how you deal with this. It seems like people are not familiar with how to put in his place a bully. Now, I will give a few examples which were chosen by God. One of them is, and before that, I will just remind everyone what I explained. It depends a lot on you. For me, when I deal with a bully, first of all, I will not accept you manipulate me. First of all, if you want something from me, you come honest and talk to me. If you manipulated me, I won't trust you. If I notice you manipulate me, I will not trust you anymore. So for me, most important is that I will understand what that individual wants, and this is important for everyone. You must understand what is that individual's goal. What does he want to achieve from you? Next step is you deny that. You make sure that under no circumstance that individual cannot achieve his goal. This is the most important way how you take a toxic person and the bully out of your life. If you literally make sure he doesn't achieve what he wants. Yeah. And this is also how you flip the script, because the bullying has the purpose to make you fearful, to intimidate you, to create some negative emotion on you. But if you make sure that he doesn't reach his goal, then you flip the script. He's the one who is frustrated and he gets angry. Do you understand? So this is very important step. The last step for me, and this is my style, but you can decide on your own style if you want to embrace this or not. For me is I will make sure that I will create a strategy to deal with you if you do this to me in such a way so when I'm done with you, first of all, I will ignore you. I will ignore you and I will observe you and I will keep you at the distance. This is the first thing. If I notice that you're trying to manipulate me or you're lying to me or stuff like this, I will keep you at the distance. I will observe you and I will ignore you. Yeah. Then I will make sure, if you insist, and this is what bullying is, you insist and insist and insist on pushing my boundaries, on forcing yourself in my life and so on, and being toxic and so on, then if you force me into a conflict, I will make sure if I have to be conflictual with you, then I will make sure, first of all, that I don't go back and forth and waste my energy with you. It's going to be just one time that I will be in conflict with you. And when I'm done with you, you will never attack me again. You will not come back to me again. That's one thing. And another thing, you will deeply regret the fact that you started a conflict with me. These are the two issues, very important for me as my outcome in this. Now, God asked me to give you an examples from my experience. Gata! Sorry, my puppies get bored when I make videos. Gata! I will give you the few examples. One of them is God showed me exactly which examples He wants me to talk about. So one of them is I mentioned in some videos about an individual from intercommunity who was investigating a case of stolen identity in 3D material existence. It was an actual case, that it was my stolen identity, so he was investigating my case, and he actually pursued a some sort of relation between us. And I explained in all those videos about toxic relations, because that was my experience with toxic relations. I explained that he tried to pull me in some sort of toxic relation, open relation, something crazy like that, which I didn't agree with. Anyhow, the point is, initially I thought I was not interested, first of all. Second of all, then when he insisted, then I was like, okay, maybe it's a good time for me to take a break and just go dance, get a dinner, I don't know, take a walk in the park, whatever. So I only thought of it as entertainment opportunity, but not in a long-term type. But then he started, when he saw that actually I accept to go out with him to have a beer together, as I explained before, he started switching this and trying to create this toxic type of relation to convince me to be in an open relation, to create runner, chasers, all this craziness. So I cut him off, basically. That's the short story. I cut him off. I'm like, just fuck off from here. I'm not wasting time with you. I try to have a clear discussion, an honest, mature discussion with him, thinking that he's a mature person and he understands and he cares for my opinion. But I soon realized that actually he's not a mature person. He doesn't care what I think. He only wants to bully me with his stupid shit with open relations and all this crazy madness, which I'm not interested in. So I already told you I'm not interested. Why you keep insisting? And we were having really stupid shit discussion. I'm telling you, every time when I was accepting an invitation for coffee, after the discussion with him, I was like, what the fuck did I waste time coming to meet him? I don't understand. Because it was such stupid discussions. He would actually say, he would say, let's go to my place and have sex. And I was like, excuse me, I explained to you already, we're not in a relation. I'm not interested in this kind of open relations with you or with anybody else. It's not my style. I don't do this. Yeah. And basically, I assume that if I'm a mature person and I tell you this, you understand and you respect it, right? No, he won't respect it. Then he will shut up, and 5 minutes or 10 minutes later, before I would finish the coffee, he would start again. And he will be, yeah, but I desire you, so then we should go. You might desire me, but there are so many men that desire me. That doesn't make any difference to me. That doesn't change the situation. There's an incompatibility between the two of us, how we view relations and life, and I will not be with you. Just simple as that. What the fuck you mean? Why you keep insisting? So this was the dialogue. So you'll understand, I did not cut him off for no reason. He was really unreasonable and immature, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Why am I even meeting him to talk to him? Because he's has these crazy ass discussions with me. So at some point I cut him off completely, but I found that I considered that he was being unreasonable. He insisted on meeting only to start a fight over this issue. There was no other topic that he would be interested to talk about with me. Nothing else, just this. It was literally. Then he would start saying that he was with another woman last night and he discussed with her about me, and that woman told him that I'm unreasonable. Do you understand? This is really, and I would say to him, listen, I'm not interested in your house opinions about me. Are you stupid? Why you imagine that I would be interested what your horse say about me? You people don't even know who is fucking who and who's with whom in all this crazy world of yours which you describe to me. I'm not interested in this, and I don't understand why you talk about me. Anyhow, I cut him off, and I gave you this explanation so you'll understand that I had reasonable arguments to cut off any connection with him, because he was just literally just toxic and annoying me constantly. And he didn't want anything else, just this. So then just get lost and leave me alone. I don't have time for you. Then he started doing a lot of gossip and slander on my name, about me, in my institution where I was, where I had my job, you know. And he would say lies. He would say to everyone that I am in love with him, I am desperate to be with him, but he rejected me. And because of this, I am upset. Literally, there were people stopping and coming at me and saying, we are sorry for you going through this situation. I was like, what the fuck? What happened? Who said this? What do you mean? And he said so many lies that it was really, first of all, it got me angry and offended, because I told him from the beginning, listen, I'm a very private person. If we go out for drinks, you don't go wandering and talking in my institution about this. Listen very well to what I'm saying. I'm not even interested to discuss with you where is this going between us and stuff like this. Before anything, the first thing that I want you to understand, I'm a very private person. I don't like people gossiping about me. And if they do gossip, I don't like them to know my reality in my private life. Let them gossip about whatever they want, but not my private life. Do you understand me? Don't start talking to anyone about me because I don't agree with this, and I don't allow you to do this. And he agreed to this. But then, to take revenge on me, he went everywhere and he spoke to everyone. Listen to me. I was entering the MFA. The gendarmerie guy, which was at the post there at the entrance to ensure security at the entry, he already knew all the stupid shit which this man was saying. I was in shock. I was for so many years, 25 years at the time, in MFA, and nobody knew anything about my private life. People didn't even know if I am married, if I'm divorced, if I am alone, they never knew anything about me. Because I never told anyone. And this man started wandering around the institution saying lies, not even saying the truth, saying lies, that I am desperate, that I am in love with him, that he rejected me because he doesn't think I'm beautiful enough, that he doesn't think I'm, all sorts of crazy stuff, you know? So, and this, I cannot explain to you, it lasted until I left the MFA. Or maybe it didn't stop even afterwards. But it never stopped. He never stopped. It doesn't matter how many years passed by. He kept saying the same shit to everyone. Yeah. Of course, because I don't like people talking about my private life, there was a predicament, because I was not going to go wander around now on the corridors of the institution and start talking to people and explaining to everyone, listen, this is a crazy bastard. He says lies. It is not true what he says to you. And also, this was even more embarrassing, to go to excuse myself to others and to go to, this would have been really embarrassing. And I was like, okay. So I ignored him for a while. he kept calling from time to time. I wouldn't answer his phone at all. Then he started hooking up with all of my friends, even from childhood. He sought to find my friends from childhood, and he hooked up with my friends, women whom I thought they're my friends. I didn't know what he's doing. I didn't know what they were doing. I was not watching anybody's life, you know. And all of the sudden, I woke up in one day when a woman who was supposed to be my friend came to me and started yelling at me. That basically, after she ended screaming, I understood that he hooked up with her, and he told her the same shit as to everyone else. I would like to be with you, you know. He said to this woman, I would like to be with you, but you see, Dana asked me to break up with all women. She's guilty. That's why I cannot be with you. So she made all these hoes that he was wandering with, women which I never knew. They were seeking and contacting me on Facebook because he was telling the same shit to them. I was in shock. I woke up one day with a woman from MOD sending messages to me on Facebook. We never spoke to each other face to face. She added me on Facebook because she was with him, you know, and he was saying the same stupid shit to him. And she wrote to me, "You are the better woman. You won. You." Oh my God! I could not believe what a circus he's making out of my life. And all lies. Do you understand? Everything was lies, 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 everything. Nothing true, you know? So I got really angry at some point. Then he started manipulating my colleagues' desk in my office. He hooked up with everyone around me, and he started making these women and men to come give me messages that it's not good, this kind of life you're doing, you're living, that you should be more open, you should accept. And I could see who sent them, you know. And sometimes some of them I would ask, who sent you to tell me this? So it got really. Then he started at my residence. I was living in a gated community. So he started recruiting the doorman, the cleaning lady, everyone around me. It was madness, really madness. So I got really, really angry with him. Because this is not acceptable that you do this circus in my life, and you basically, every human being that I meet, when I turn around, you already contacted them and you said lies about me. And first of all, you have no right to talk about my life, first of all. Second of all, you're saying lies. So where the fuck you think you're gonna get with all of this? Yeah. So then he started convincing my colleagues and my office team to organize parties and to invite me at the party, so he will find me at the party. I refused all invitations because I knew he was the one who actually requested that party to be organized. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is actually when I decided to sell my apartment in the city and move outside of the city, thinking I get rid of him. But anyhow, the point is, I never talked to him because it was useless. A man who does this much harm to your reputation on purpose, lying about you. So he didn't just go out and tell about, you see, I went out with Dana. But he created all these lies and turned so many women against me whom I never met. I never knew who they are, because he went to everyone and he was not breaking up with them, but he went to them and he said, I actually, I will have to stop seeing you because Dana asked me to break up with all women in my life. But he was not planning to actually break up with them, He was only enticing them to become angry at me and to come after me. And I was very angry because my discussion with him did not refer to a specific woman. What I told him is a style of living. And I didn't say, you go and break up with them. I said, if you want to be with me, you break up with everyone. You clean up your life, basically, yeah? These are the conditions under which you can be with me. But if you don't, it's okay. Go on your way with your women, with your whatever life you lead, yeah? I never actually imposed this on you. Quite the contrary. I actually told him we can be colleagues. We don't have to go out together. We don't have to be in a relation. Calm down. It's not such a big deal. Anyhow, I did not engage with him because I understood that it's a deeper problem. When you have this kind of behavior, specifically at the workplace, and specifically when I told you from the beginning not to do this, and specifically when you lie, then there is no reason for me to discuss with you, because it's clear I tried already for 3 months to discuss with you seriously this matter. So I will make you understand. So we will part our ways in decent relation as colleagues, because I cannot choose. You actually do have working relation with my institution. So now, but you refuse to accept that, and you just want to create scandal, either between you and me, or if I ignore you, you go create scandal for me everywhere. I'm not gonna engage with you this way. You're not gonna force me into this. So I ignored him, basically. I ignored him. I refused all. I received guidance exactly every time when he was orchestrating some sort of meeting, either at parties or even at some sort of institutional events and so on. And I would basically just not go to any of them. And I would push out of my life everyone who was coming at me to deliver his message. Yeah. So I pushed him, I pushed everything, and I blocked everything out until there was a point which was reached when he actually started asking everyone, can you please help me organize this party so I can get to meet Dana, invite Dana as well so I can talk to her, because she's upset, she doesn't want to talk to me. Then there was a phase in which a lot of individuals from my institution, they will not come talk to me directly, because they already by now knew that I will cut them off if they do this, as I already cut off some of them. So they started posting on my Facebook account advices that you should be forgiving, you should allow second chances. Do you see my point? The same shit. He was doing exactly the same shit, continuing to talk about my private life and talking to everyone who would listen in the institution and saying lies, basically. But my point is, I ignored him and I avoided him, and I did not meet with him because it was clear to me there is no purpose, there is no reason, you don't get anywhere, until he got to actually go to all of those to whom he said initially that he rejected me because I'm not beautiful enough, because I'm not sexy enough, because I'm not sophisticated enough. Yeah, he said I'm not sophisticated because I don't do open relations. That means you're not sophisticated. They said, man, I don't seek your approval. You don't understand. I know who I am. You don't seem to understand. I am a very desired woman, and I've been so all my life. All my life, since teenage years. I never had to go find a man. I could choose men which were interested in me, because I was always surrounded by individuals interested in me. But I was never interested in this kind of relations, that's all. It's not that I'm stupid, it's not that I'm not desired by individuals. So I don't need you to validate my beauty, my sophistication, my style, get the fuck away from me, leave me alone. I don't have time for stupid shit like you. Just seem like kindergarten discussion with me. And I'm not used with this kind of childish behavior, and so on. But at the end, when I kept him at a distance and I kept quiet for so long, and my strategy was basically, I saw that he's working through third parties on me, yeah? So you're sending your host to me, you're sending other people to me to embarrass me, because this is what you aimed, to embarrass me and to pull me in a toxic discussion with them, yeah? And I'm pretty sure what he wants, actually God showed me once, that he wants a conflict with you. So he hopes that you will get this angry, that you will go to him and start a fight with him. because this would be an opportunity in which he enters again into a toxic cycle with you, but he didn't initiate it. You went to him to start fight with him and so on. So I'm like, oh, so this is your goal. Okay, you're never gonna see that happening. How about that? And we will see which one of us can stay into this mud which you create, more, you or me. So let's see which one goes longer. You will never see me coming your way, discussing again with you, or accepting a discussion between you and me. If you think you can manipulate me and blackmail me into coming towards you into a discussion by creating chaos and humiliation in my life, let me show you it's not true. Let me help you understand, man, if you're confused on this matter. I try to tell you, but then you figured you still want to do it, yeah? Okay, let's make sure that you regret it then. And it took a very long time, but as I said, he at some point understood after 1 year and a half, something like this, he understood that I'm not gonna go to him to have fight with him or any discussion. He actually made sure that he would cross my path on the corridor of the institution. I ignored him. I didn't even answer to hello. I would just nod my head because we're in an institution and it's normal to say hello. Otherwise, people say that I am the rude one, not that he's the crazy one. But I wouldn't even talk to him a word. And I will just ignore him. Then he will call me again. I will just not answer. No, get the fuck away from me. You're not pushing me into this. By what you did, you closed all doors. It's not acceptable that you do this to me. So I understood what was his objective, what he wanted. He wanted me to go fight with him because this is his turf of toxicity in fights. This is what he wanted. He needed to feed from my energy through that fight, So I said, okay, let's show you this is not going to happen. Let's make sure that you stop this shit and you do not achieve what you want, yeah? And I never talked to him, actually. I never went to him to even ask him why you did this, why you said this, why you... I ignored him. Slowly, gradually, people understood that he's crazy because after 1 year of saying to everyone that I'm crazy after him, then he was begging everyone to help him get into the same room with me at the same event so he will have an opportunity to talk with me. And he convinced many people around me to try to convince me to go to events where he would be present. And I was, I knew that he sent them because I received guidance. I would ask always my ancestors, should I go to this meeting? And they would show me, look, he asked them to come to invite you so he can talk to you. Yeah, fuck off then. If you are the one who initiated this, let's not play it this way. So in the end, he embarrassed himself and he never achieved his goal. And he embarrassed himself because he switched the story so many times that basically people at some point, sooner or later, understood that the problem is with him. Because I was minding my own business and my own life. I moved away from the city. I basically just minded my life. Yeah. And he kept talking and talking and talking about me, saying different things, different stories, different ways, different... okay, I'm done with this example. I gave you this example. Another example which God asked me to give, I see it's taking too long. A similar example, I had once a boss who actually had a very poor human management abilities, to put it politely. And basically what he was doing, first of all, he was very demanding, but not in a decent way. Namely, he would give a lot of tasks that basically you were forced, in order to achieve those tasks, you were forced to work 24 hours a day. But we were not paid for extra time after working hours. Many of the projects he was giving to us were not in our job description. Particularly in my case, there was not in my job description to do a specific project, but still he will give me that. So that was a very unfair way to deal with people. In my particular case, he did this of course, as I explained, giving me extra work, but many of the projects were not even for the institution, were for a company or a think tank that his wife owned. And I had no obligation to do that. And there was no remuneration, no money, no nothing for any of these extra hours and extra projects which he was giving to us. So that was very unfair type and basically an abuse of power and of position. Anyhow, moving on though, the toxic part of it, there are many toxic part of this individual, but one of them which God wants me to talk about now is related to the fact that in my case particularly, he blocked me. He knew my ex-husband because we worked together in Washington D.C. So he in United States. So he knew my husband. He convinced my husband to convince me to go on assignment abroad and to give up my plans to make a business. And he promised me then. He said, Dana, I know you want to leave the institution. I know you want to make a business and be entrepreneur. But look, I need you in Washington, D.C. And I promise you, I spoke with your husband and he wants to come and so on. And I promise you that if you come with us, I will help you in United States to get the opportunity to work in American companies. So you will learn how business is done there. Keep in mind, this was in 95. This was in the beginning after the communism in Romania. So for me, as I wanted to open a business, I figured it's amazing opportunity to work in companies in United States because I learned how business is done in United States and I create contacts. So then when I return to Romania, I can create my company already with a business plan in mind. That was the promise he made to me. He never allowed me to leave the office, actually. He forced me to stay there and do the job and extra projects for him, for the ambassador. And when I asked him a few times, you promised me that you'll help me work for American companies, so I will learn business. And he said, yeah, but there's no time. And I said, yeah, but I want to continue my studies. So I signed up at Georgetown University for classes because you knew I'm a student when you forced me, I was going to say, to go to Washington. And you cornered me together with my ex-husband. And he said, yeah, I did promise that, but here you see there's no time because we have so much work to do and you have so many projects to work on. So anyhow, a lot of betrayal in the relation and a lot of abuse of power and abusive and betrayal and basically blocking my path, literally, and not keeping his word, what he promised, because he knew he wouldn't convince me to go just to work for the ambassador and the embassy, because I told him I refused already 5 offers this year to go abroad. I'm not interested in that. I want to finish school, open business, leave, I was going to say, this fucking institution and just mind my own business. And this is why he lied to me that he will let me work for American companies. Anyway, this is one aspect of him. But he had a habit, basically, in addition to that, he had a habit which was very bothersome for all of us around him. That, as I explained to you, he would block my path. He numerous times I received scholarships so I could go to continue my studies, and he would literally oppose it. He will convince me not to do it, and he will always gang up with my ex-husband against me. And both of them were pushing me not to go. Just please make a sacrifice this time because we have a presidential visit and you must be in charge of this project. You cannot do this now. Just postpone it next year. 10 years passed like this. 10 years, both of them did this to me. 10 years, each and every year I was trying to find a new scholarship, and every year they will force me to give up. And every year will promise that next year. For 10 years, you understand? Anyhow. And they never kept their word, neither of them, my ex-husband or this individual who was my boss, and they were working together against me. They never kept, every time they kept saying, okay, just 1 more year, or just 6 more months, just, and when the deadline would come, they will never actually agree to finish that. Anyhow, the one toxic behavior that he had that God asked me to talk about was that not only to me but to many of us, he was, as I said, very demanding, and he was forcing us to work long hours through the assignments he was giving, and then he would go out and recruit individuals who had nothing to do with the ministry. And he would say, okay, this individual graduated from Harvard. This individual is a genius. All of you are stupid and idiots. Basically, that was the message. He wouldn't actually use the words stupid and idiots, but he would actually say, we don't even compare. In Romania, there is nobody in the institution that actually even compares to this individual, and so on. So, now, those individuals had no fault in this. It was his very bad way of and disrespectful way of managing this, because on one hand, you basically force us to work 24 hours a day. You don't give us time to go to finish, to go to extra specialization, to go to classes, to go to, maybe I would have gone to Harvard if you would have fucking allowed me, but you've been pushing yourself in my life for this long, and you keep cutting off all my opportunities, and you ganged up with my ex-husband to do this. So, you don't come then and you brag about somebody else, because it's disrespectful to the people that work in your team, that you keep putting them down like you are nobody. And look, I brought somebody who's a genius. Yeah, it's disrespectful. You don't do this. Yeah, first of all. Second of all, most times he will bring these individuals who indeed had very famous studies, but they had no experience in anything, because he was taking them from school level. And most of the times the specialty which they had did not match with what the Romanian MFA required or offered. Yeah. And when I say Romanian MFA, you must understand that there are different circumstances in each institution. There are similarities between different MFAs, but they're not all the same, because Romania is a small country with a small budget, and it was a country at the time coming out of communism. So it was a lot of restructuring and reform done in institution in order to change things and stuff. And these people were brought from United States, and they were used with the United States standard, I remember he brought one individual with whom I was in good relation in Washington, D.C. He was from the Romanian community. And he said, you will be counselor to the minister. Well, we were all counselors to the ministers in that office, just excepting the secretary. But otherwise, all of us were counselors to the minister. And this guy came with the idea probably of what Joe Biden was to Obama. That's what he thought it means to be counselor to this minister. But I explained to him, man, each of us has different files and different activity, and everybody has their own piece. And you deal with that piece from beginning to the end. You don't have a secretary, you don't have assistants, you don't have driver, you don't have anything. I don't know what he told you you're gonna get here, but this is not what is going on. You need to, and I tried to explain to my boss, I said, there must be a compatibility between what you offering to that individual and what you demand from him, because you get people frustrated this way. Because sooner or later they will see the reality, and if it doesn't matches what you promised to them, I was gonna say, you messed up people's lives, and you messed up my life here. I will get fed up one day, close the door, leave, and go to another department. But you brought people from abroad. They moved to different countries because you promised them something, or you led them to believe that they will get a special status. You need to explain to them. And there were big problems because most of these individuals were not even willing actually to adapt to the reality. They would be like, one individual was counselor and was supposed to accompany him to go abroad with him. And he would be the secretary, this guy. The secretary should do this for me, should make this for me, should make these copies, should bring me the notes. And I explained to him, listen, Alex, you're just counselor. You have no secretary, man. Nobody can do this for you. You're supposed to put the fucking hand on the phone and keep calling the departments in the ministry and go to them to pick up the documents or ask them to come to your office to give you the documents. There's nobody to do this for you. You are supposed to do this for the minister. This is your job, man. This is your job description. He was very disappointed. And I said, listen, I don't want to get into a fight with you, but you should have asked what are the circumstances and conditions and what is offered with this job. Yeah. Anyhow, I only had the discussion with this guy because I knew him from Washington, D.C., so I could afford to tell him the truth, But with most other people that he would bring, I didn't have the discussion because I figured I don't know them. They will go tell him and then I get in trouble, So there was a big discussion. Of course, it was a very toxic way of behaving with all of us in his team because you're insulting us. And then you also give us more assignment. So you're insulting us and then you're giving us more work. And you bring an individual who's not prepared for the job. He might have famous school graduated, but has nothing to do with the job that he's required to do. They were like, I want to create this kind of speech. Yeah, but you're not the speech writer. I understand you had dreams what it means to be counselor to the minister, but man, this is not happening for you. There's somebody else who's writing the speech. Your job as a counselor, what he gave you, is to do this and that. You might not like it, but this is what it is, So he was creating this kind of toxic relation in the team, and he was forcing us to deal with it. Although that was his job, you should have had this discussion with him before you hired him. Now you hired him, you messed up this person's life, and you forced us to deal with them, And because of this, there were many fights between different colleagues. The new ones, these genius people, and those of us who were actually working for the institution to go forward. This was a very toxic way of dealing with things. He would never tell some negative news to someone. He will always lie to people, and then he would send me, go tell this one that I fired him. But why don't you tell him? Why should I go tell him? And stuff like this, or he wouldn't want a specific decision to be taken in a way. So he will not say that to the people. He will send me to say that to those people. He would say, I assign you to do this, but it was not normal. Anyhow, so it was a very toxic way. He was transferring all toxicity to us, basically. Now, I had many colleagues who were very upset of this. And they were always complaining, and they said, you know what, we are fed up with him. Why he insults us like this? First of all, we are doing the work. These genius people that he brings, they don't do anything. We don't even enter into the discussion why they are not doing anything. The point is, we are upset at him for creating this situation. But they will start fights among them. I had a different situation. Basically, this is what God wants me to share with you. I never enter into fights with any of them. Every time I would just tell them, listen, just go to the minister and talk to him. Just go. I will make sure that you have time with him. I will make sure that you have time to talk to him about this. Just go and explain to him. You see? So I would always flip the script because he was sending them to me in order so I will get blamed for everything that he was. I couldn't do this in all circumstances, but God asked me to give you this example because I was doing it very often with these people that he was recruiting and bringing into the team. I would always send them to the minister because I don't think it's normal that you send them to me, so it will be a conflict with me. Let them come to you. Or, for example, he will say about one of these individuals, oh, I brought so-and-so individual in our team. He's a genius. She's a genius. Now we finally will hear something smart. Which was all bullshit and insulting. Anyhow, I wouldn't say anything. My colleague, we were together, so my colleague would say, yeah, but she's not do no, she doesn't know how to do this, she doesn't know how to do this, and she doesn't want to learn, and she, and he was like, you are jealous of her. This is why you say this, but she's a genius. She's so and so. And he will turn to me, this boss, and will say, Dana, I say that this woman or this man is genius. And they say, yeah, I agree. Although I didn't agree. I agree. This is perfect. That's right. This person is a genius. You should spend more time with them and try to figure out whatever topics are not clarified. So for the next two delegations, can I put her in can she accompany you, or he, or whatever was the case? Because you have the opportunity to talk on the plane, to talk during the visit, so you will get more time to spend with each other, and also she or he can feel involved directly with you, so and he was accepting this. Every time I would do the same. I would say, yeah, perfect, that's true. That person is genius and we are stupid. How about she goes with you in the next delegation? Okay? And I tell you, when he would get in that delegation, he would get so angry and he would constantly call me while he was abroad, complaining about the same individual who he constantly praised before that delegation, So I was like, I'm not going to get into, and I explained once to one of my colleagues, and I said, Victor, I'm not going to get into fights with him to explain to him negative sides of this person, because he's going to say, I'm jealous, I am envious. You know what? I'm not jealous, I'm not envious. And my only concern in these circumstances is to delimitate clearly where is my responsibility and where is the other person's responsibility. So when that one fucks up, I won't be blamed for it. That's all I care. Okay? Otherwise, let him deal with the person that he brings, and let them manage their relation, their situation. Each and every single time I will do the same. I will say, yes, it's perfect. This person is perfect for you. Just take him with you in delegation. I am busy to deal with the projects which you gave me. I won't accompany you. Just take this person with you. And from that delegation, most of the times, he will return upset with that person, and he will yell at me. Never put this person on delegation again. Excuse me, but you said that she's a genius, and I thought that this would be useful time for you with a genius, So I flipped the script. So I showed you two ways in which I flipped the script. I would send the individual back to him, because I was not gonna get into a fight with that, or I would just make sure that he stays alone with the individual. He was rude in saying all of this to us, and he was triggering a lot of negative energy from us. But I was flipping the script, and I was like, yeah, that's perfect. You're rude, just go with her, stay with her. I was in my mind, I don't even want to work with you or in this institution, actually. So I don't give a fuck, and of course, that individual would return from delegation very upset, complaining about him, because he was like, he promised me this. He said this is going to be like this. He promised me this. And I was like, yeah, he did. I imagine he did. In my mind, I was like, he said a lot of lies to me too, and he blocked my path as well. So I don't know exactly how you're going to deal with this. So that's another example of flipping the script. Yeah. It's 48 minutes. It's a long time. God is showing to me to give one more example, because God selected these examples to be given in this video. One more example, God is insisting on talking about these spiritual attacks. And I had to deal with this, and they do a lot of spiritual attacks related to sexual energy and sex, and for many reasons. I explained why. Because this is the vital force of your energy body, is very important. This is the energy of also of creation, so including your evolution. your ability to manifest, and so many others come from sacral chakra and are related to sexual energy to one way or another. Yeah. So for this reason, they do all of these attacks. In my case as well, it was a shocking type of attack because I always considered this to be a very private part of your life, you know. So it would be a protected part of your life. So I encountered. I was very shocked when I encountered. I was at the end of receiving sexual attacks directed at me through sex magic, through all sorts of sorcery, scent attachments, and stuff, and so on. And because I was not expecting, and I was very shocked and surprised, I reacted emotionally to it, you know. And I was like, not crying, but getting very angry and insulted and offended. And at the time, it was exactly when I started this spiritual fighting consciously. I didn't know any of this about spiritual fighting. So God was just saying, avoid emotions, but I didn't know how to avoid emotions, and I didn't know why to avoid emotions. I was like, what the fuck you mean? I'm angry. Why they do this? But then I understood pretty fast, I think, what was going on. And I understood that they're using this in order to trigger me and to make me feel embarrassed, to make me feel in many ways, many negative ways, yeah. With my privacy, energetic privacy, violated and abused and aggressed, and so many ways. But I understood fast what is going on. I explained in other videos that I also went to a church where the priest explained to me about this gang stalking group, which is here in Chernica, and is doing this. Is focused on sexual attacks and sex magic and so on, and so forth. Basically, God asked me to show you how I flip the script on them. Literally, I imagine there are the people who deal with this. So I found two ways to flip the script on them. First of all, I already gave you an example of how to deal with bullying because they have these women doppelgangers which will constantly do levitation on you, saying that you're not woman enough. Look, I am better than you. I look more beautiful. I look more this, more that, more this. I explained in that video how I flipped the script on that one. Basically, I literally said to her, and I not only to her but to some of these doppelgangers, you know, when you look in the mirror, just keep one thing in mind: nobody would fuck you if you wouldn't steal my energy. So remember exactly who you are. Yeah, you're nobody. They wouldn't even engage with them. You must come to me to steal my energy, or you must use them to steal my energy in sex magic and whatever rituals, because otherwise they don't fuck you. So you're not even good as a hoe. Do you understand me? You're not even good in bed, because otherwise you wouldn't need my energy to do it. Yeah. So just keep in mind this when you actually keep bullying me and saying that I'm not woman enough because I don't fuck around like you, like a hoe. Just keep in mind that you're not even good as a hoe, because he's not even looking at you or fucking you if you don't steal my energy. So understand exactly your level when you talk to me, okay? Because as opposed to you, I never need to steal energy from anyone if I want to have sex with a man. And it never happens that a man would refuse to have sex with me if I decide to, okay? So just go sit on a chair, reflect on this before you talk to me. So that would be one. Another one would be that I discovered during the spiritual fighting. I learned, first of all, the first step was to learn to manage my energy. And I explained already that in a video. And so the attacks won't trigger me anymore, you know. So you associate different meaning to the attacks. I explained this with reprogramming your mind and the silent meditation. Anyhow, by doing so, I was able to carry out the spiritual fighting against them. They were judged and punished, okay? And then all of a sudden, I learned, because they were under judgment, they basically got protection from church, from Masonry, from church wing of Masonry, okay? Because the church can give them protection in judgment situation, in divine judgment situation, yeah? So I learned that while they are in this situation, this is how they try to avoid karma, by getting protection from the church. And I learned that they were in this under this church protection, you know, because of judgment, because of karma, at a specific time. And I learned that when they are in this type of protection, they are not allowed to have any kind of sexual activity in astral. Do you see? Oh, okay. When I learned this, I'm like, fuck, yeah. So what do you mean to tell me? They are not allowed to play with sexual energy when they are in this protection? And Jesus, because Jesus explained all of this to me. And Jesus said, no, they are not allowed. And I said, no, but then let me remind them. Did they think that they can do this to me, to traumatize me, to trauma bond me, to bully and harass me? And they thought that they will break me down. And now, because I succeeded to put them under judgment, they think they can get protection from church. I'm not gonna accept this. And God said to me, just don't engage with them, because they will get your energy. And I'm like, that's okay. If they get my energy, they will attack me more. I'm willing to take that chance, man. I'm just willing to take that chance. And I just want to remind them who they are. That's all. So because of this, literally, I did this. God did not agree with it, but Jesus laughed and he said, yes, you should teach them a lesson now. And so I basically in astral, what I did in astral, I would dress up in astral in provocative, not a provocative, but in a sexy kind of outfit, yeah. And I will dance in astral in front of them, for example, belly dancing or stuff like this, which will trigger them sexually. I would never attack them sexually. I don't attack sexually. But I would provoke them basically. And I'm like, no, man, you put me through all of this hell, and you think now you became a saint and you turned to church? No, let me remind you who you are, because if they cannot uphold that protection, then they are under judgment, you see. And actually I did this to them a few times, and I said, this is to teach you a lesson. This is to teach you a lesson. Stay the fuck in your lane and stop attacking me with sexual energy. So I did this a few times. I did this to them a few times for two reasons. One, to teach them a lesson, because most of them cannot uphold that energy, that church type of energy of purity, where you're not supposed to engage sexually. So if I would perform a dance like this, they would fall, because this is how it looks energetically. They are under a certain protection in a different part of the astral, you know. And I wouldn't touch them. I would just come close and just do my belly dancing, and they would just fall from that. And I was like, okay, now you see how that doesn't play well with you. That is not nice, right? What the fuck you mean? You have sent so much dark magic and sexual attacks at me for so long, and now you want to pretend you're this saint just so you won't get punished? No, man. Be a man and assume. Do redemption, go to God. Yeah. So that was for one reason, in order for them to teach them a lesson. Another reason, though, also because God is showing me to say that this only happens because they took the church protection, but they didn't do any healing on them. They had so many sexual demonic attachments because they have been working with these entities to send them upon us, that of course you cannot stay in purity. Since you have done this against so many people and harvesting sexual energy from people during dream time, up until this morning, and all of a sudden by lunchtime you're under protection and you're a saint, excuse me, that doesn't work. You need to heal your energy, you need to heal and change your mindset and what you do in order to get rid of that and to be in church. The church shouldn't cover for them, actually. Yeah, the church is guilty as well. Anyhow, I would do this to teach them a lesson. And I will say, okay, now it's your turn to learn. You cannot take protection. Now because I brought judgment at your door and karma at your door, you take protection from the church? No, man, I won't allow it. You must be judged now for what you did. And that was regarding men. But also sometimes I would do this dance, this belly dance or other dance, depending on what music I would listen in astral, in order for one of these men who has been attacking me together with a woman, because most of them have a pair. They're in pair. They do these sexual attacks in pair, in groups. I was gonna say something, and I will do this in front of a man who is paired with one of the doppelgangers of me, my doppelgangers, yeah, and he will fall from church protection, as I was doing the dance. And then I will just go to her and I will say this. This is just to remind you who you are. He still desires me, not you. He still doesn't look at you even if I am present in the room. Just so you'll remember, because you work so hard to imagine that you are me, this is just to remind you who you are exactly, okay? Good. So these are the examples that God has shown to me to give. This is not necessarily, this is why I don't give these examples, because this is not necessarily spiritual fighting by the book. This is, God is saying to me, yeah. This is innovative ways which I found in order to deal with certain situations, because they were hiding from punishment, And of course I didn't accept for them to hide from punishment, since I worked so hard in order to achieve that, So this is one thing. And God is saying this to me, that spiritual fighting by the book is not as successful at this point in time, simply because they have created so much criminal activity in astral, that you have to be creative and to find your own ways in which you achieve what you want, or you block them from achieving something. Yeah, and you stand your ground. And also it's a matter of speaking your truth, standing your ground, and gaining your own authority and respect. So yes, I need you to remember that if you send sexual attacks to me, I will not allow you to get away with it, and I will not allow you to pretend that you're this saint, since you have been a hoe until 3 hours ago, and you've been doing group sex and all sorts of ritualic practices with sex magic and so on. What the fuck you mean now? So it was not something that God guided me to do. It was my choice. I will be honest at the end now, and I close up because it's over 1 hour, but I will be honest, it was also dealing with my own frustration of being forced to deal with them. Because I was like, I had so many much more interesting things to do than to waste time with these creeps and to deal with the type of attacks which they create. So now I will teach you a lesson. So next time you will think twice before you do this against me. Yeah. So yeah, this is also what God wanted me to address in this video. Now I will close up. I will talk about the question which I received in the comment section in the next video, because it's way too long, this one, okay?